First off, I would like to say, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of It's Going Down, being brought to you by the brother Dark Matter Yahweh. And this is an article which I found right here from Blacklisted News, and the title of this article is called "California to Cut Water to Cities and Farmland Amid Persisting Drought." So there is a persisting drought in California. Now we know that the so-called elites, they're the ones in power, ruling the world in wickedness, and they know where everybody's living at. There's men who are of the elect that live in California. So, they plan on starving out a lot of our people. Even if it means that they have to make their own people suffer just to kill us. Because, the so-called elites, these people are demented. They're wicked. They do abominable things on a daily. Like committing incest, pedophilia, homosexuality. Just all manner of wickedness. So, here in this article, it says, a severe drought. Now, there's two ways that this drought could have actually happened. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, because when you read the Old Testament, the Lord was always known for bringing a drought, especially upon our people who are disobedient, or people who committed sin, or people who refused to repent from their iniquities and their wickedness. The Lord would cause a drought in the land by causing it not to rain, and by making it extra hot outside. Because what does the heat from the sun do? It basically vaporizes the water. And while you may not notice it within the first couple of years, but slowly but surely that water is being vaporized from the earth, from the heat, from the scorching heat of the sun. And it don't have to just take the heat of the sun. It can take the heat from the ground too. The heat which comes from the sun that scorches the ground and causes the water to be vaporized. When you broil water in a pot, for an example, when it broils after a certain period of time, what happens? Eventually the water just starts to dissipate from the pot because of the intense heat. Well, that's what the Lord is doing with the water here in this land, known as America. He's doing it to bring judgment upon our people. Now, the other way that this drought could also be happening, it could be happening through the HARP program, which the so-called elites have full control over. Even though when you read in the Holy Scriptures in the book of Proverbs, it tells you that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So whatever the Lord wants the so-called elites to do, they're going to wake up the next day, because it tells you that the Lord sealeth the instruction of men in their sleep. So the Lord's going to have the so-called elites wake up, right? And he's going to have them bring judgment upon the people that they hate the most. When I say they, I'm talking about the nation of E. Okay, you should know what I'm talking about by now when I say E, or you know, Edom. I'll just say Edom, man. Okay, which is so-called white people. The nation of Edom. They hate the nation of Israel the most, which the Israelites are the so-called Black, Latino, and Native Indians. So the so-called elites, it's nothing to them to just put somebody to death of our nation, even if it means by starvation or making them suffer by other means. So it says a severe drought has ravaged every country in California for 7 months. So this has been an ongoing, lingering thing that has been going on for 7 months. So check that out. Forcing state officials. Now again, this drought could also be being caused by the HARP program, which we know that HARP could be used to manipulate the weather and even the temperature of the earth. You see? So through the HARP program, they can make it up to over 100 degrees outside, or they can make it like shivering, freezing outside with piercing winds. They can do that through HARP programs. And they show you that in movies like Geostorm. Now, I watched the movie Geostorm, man. And whether if you believe it or not, they actually have technology like that. They're not going to just show you things like that in their movie for entertainment. They really got weather manipulating programs where they can create tornadoes and hurricanes. But don't get me wrong now. There is also natural tornadoes and natural hurricanes and floods and typhoons and all kinds of disastrous weather disasters that happen because of when Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua sent his angels, you know. And for the most part, the Lord is sending his angels to create natural disasters on the earth. Because this whole world is wicked, man. And like it tells you in Psalms 7 verse 11, the Lord is angry with the wicked every day, especially our people who follow after the ways of the wicked. A severe drought has ravaged every country in California for 7 months, forcing state officials to restrict water delivery next year to millions of Californians and hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland, according to Bloomberg. Did you see that? Above average temperatures and the lack of precipitation began in early February 2020. So you see, a drought doesn't have to happen overnight. And a matter of fact, these California droughts have actually been going on, really going back to what? Since the year 2014. So this has been an ongoing crisis now, going on for 7 years now. Really going on 8 years, because it'll be the year 2022 soon. It says, and by the summer, conditions worsened following yeah, Salakia. Following after heat wave, some of the state's largest reservoirs registered near or at record low levels. And really, that's Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai vaporizing the water, which prompted some to believe that state officials were preparing to announce their first ever federally declared water shortage. And really, it's not a water shortage, it's a famine. And a matter of fact, let's get that. Because the Holy Scriptures speak about a famine. Yahushua himself prophesied that there will be a famine. Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. Now these are the words of Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." In diverse places. Okay? So, it's not going to just be the land of Africa going through a famine. It's not going to be Arabian countries going through a famine. It's not going to just be Asian countries going through a famine. It's not going to just be European countries going through a famine. America is going to be going through a famine too. Puerto Rico. Look at Puerto Rico. Look at Brazil. Look at South America. Look at Mesoamerica. Brazil and other countries in South America. Haiti. They're going through a famine right now. Okay? Jake was eating off the ear of another dude inside of a prison some years back because the famine was so bad. People was literally hunting down food trucks, looting them for bread. You know, so this same scenario is going to come to America. And a drought could economically affect the whole country of America because California is one of the main reservoirs on where America get a lot of its food from, like oranges, bananas, pineapples. Well, if there's a drought, those kind of fruits will not be able to grow, especially if there's a lack of rain. And especially if it's just constantly hot outside, man, the fruit is going to end up rotting and withering away. You know, one thing about fruit, it needs water in order to maintain a healthy form. And because of that, what? Certain prices on food is going to go up. The prices on oranges is going up. The prices on grapes is going up. The prices on bananas is going up. Hell, I went to go buy a bag of grapes yesterday for the house. Them shits was damn near $10. It wasn't like that when I first came into the truth. When I first came into the truth, a bag of grapes was like roughly $3.99 or maybe $4.09. Now they're almost now they're almost $10. And we know that a lot of these grapes do come from California. So there's a shortage going on right now. A bag of oranges is almost $6 now. It wasn't like that 7 years ago. 7 years ago, a bag of oranges was like $2.99, and they were much bigger and sweeter and bitter. You eat an orange nowadays, and it don't even taste like an orange no more. It's almost like all of the flavor, the nutrients, the sweetness, and bitterness have been sucked out of it. No, there's no life in food anymore, man. But anyways, Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." Why are all these the beginning of sorrows? Because when these things happen, people die from these kind of things. So I'm going to read a little bit more of this article, and I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Dry conditions also spark one of the worst fire seasons on record. Right. And if you think about it, That's definitely a strategical move coming from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Because if there's a fire, what's going to happen? The fire is gonna consume away at your crops and your different foods that would normally grow out in the woods or out in these different country areas. A lot of these farmers had to abandon their homes, their crops, and their food because of forest fires. So you know that's a lot of crops being consumed right there. On top of that, the US government is sending different agents to these farmers, paying them money to destroy their crops. And really, really, that's the Lord bringing a famine upon the land. Okay? All these are the beginning of sorrows. So, it says, dry conditions also spark one of the worst fire seasons on record. And dry conditions come from what? Lack of rain. And the Lord has been known for doing that back in the ancient world, causing lack of rain. Turning up the heat, the temperature here on the earth. As more than 8,000 fires charred 3 million acres. And you know a lot of food got consumed away in that. So it says the California Department of Water Resources is now prioritizing water delivery as the drought will persist well into 2022. Water delivery for 27 million Californians and 750,000 acres of farmland will be affected. Did you hear that? 750,000 acres of farmland will be affected. Okay? You can't have a farm if you're not getting rain. Okay? Because if the bugs don't eat away at your food, the hot scorching heat from the sun will most definitely destroy your crops. I mean, what you gonna do? You gonna get an airplane, fly through the sky just to water all your crops? Then what? Now you're gonna have to figure out a way to come up with money just to keep gas inside your plane. So the Lord is bringing this country down, man. With that, I'm gonna say, Shalom is on to the next one.